25 years ago, a young couple arrived in Omaha from Baltimore. This was all dark. So while I was interviewed for the position of senior rabbi at this temple, my wife was searching for a home for us. She went through 24 houses. 24 houses that at the center of the home was a big bar. No bookshelves, no books, nothing, just a big bar. 24 homes. And then she rang the bell, not far away from Beth and Ron Grunke. And we bought that house. That house did not have a bar. That house had shelves with books. And this was the house of Andie Gordman. And her parents, of course. And her brother. From time to time, Andie comes to our house and she immediately wants to see her room. After all those years. I think we did a good job in keeping the home and making sure that you feel comfortable, you and your kids. So tonight, we're going to continue in the summer conversation. Summer where we invite members of the temple to talk about transitions. We are moving the building, but we also, each of us have experienced different transitions in our lives and different changes. So Andie is going to talk tonight about life if divided into before and after. Andie.
I've been thinking about what I wanted to share tonight ever since Wendy contacted me and asked me to speak about transition. It would have been much easier to talk about what has not changed in my life over the last 5 years. The reality of it is that over the last 5 years, I've gotten married, experienced the death of a child, left a successful career, sent a child to college, and started a business. But what do I really know about transition? As a human resources professional, I've been talking to employees about change and its benefits for years, but I've done very little talking about transition. So I started my preparation for tonight by consulting the dictionary and looking up the word transition. According to Webster's dictionary, transition is defined as passage from one state, stage, subject, or place to another. With that information, it made me wonder about the definition of change. So I looked up that too and discovered that change is defined as to make radically different or to give a different position, course, or direction to. So what I learned from my research was that change makes things different, but transition is the act of moving from something to something else. During the last few years, my life has been a series of changes and transitions. 3 years ago, I had just celebrated 2 years of marriage. I was enjoying a successful career as a vice president of human resources, and I was the mother of 2 amazing children, Brandon and Lindsay. And in an instant, on July 8, 2010, my life and the lives of those closest to me changed forever. I read a quote that perfectly sums up that day for me. The quote said, "There are moments which mark your life, moments when you realize nothing will ever be the same, and time is divided into 2 parts, before this and after this." On that day, I received a call no parent wants to get. Brandon had been in an accident, and I needed to come to the hospital as soon as possible. Most of my memories of the next 4 days are a blur, but yet some remain as clear as if it were yesterday. Unfortunately, the worst happened and Brandon died on July 12, 2010. Over the next few weeks, family and friends insulated me from the real world. But then the time came, my parents went home, Dan and I went back to work, and Lindsay started her junior year of high school, and it was time to face my new reality. Over the next few months, it became increasingly difficult to go to work. I no longer found satisfaction and fulfillment I once did in my career. In addition, as Lindsay's 18th birthday and the end of her senior year approached, I realized I'd never spent a summer at home. I'd always been a working mom, so with the support of my husband, I resigned my position in order to spend the summer with Lindsay and figure out what was next for me. After Lindsay and I spent a wonderful summer together, it was time for another transition, and she left for college, and Dan and I became empty nesters. I had been a working mom, juggling many responsibilities for 23 years, and all of a sudden, all the labels that used to define me were gone. This year has been an adjustment for both of us. I needed to learn to let go, and Lindsay needed to find her way in the world, and she needed to learn not to rely on me as much. It's not always been easy for either one of us, and our transition continues. So all of a sudden, I was no longer working full-time. I was no longer called upon on a daily basis as a mom. So now what? Over the next few months, I spent time talking with those I trusted the most and reflecting on what would truly make me happy. Earlier this year, I took a big risk and started a human resources consulting practice. I'm happy to report business is good, and I've never been more satisfied with the career choice. One of the best parts about owning my own business is I can spend time volunteering and caring for my family in a way I've never had time to do before. So what have I learned from my experiences of the last few years? The first thing I learned is it's okay to ask for help, and in fact, we should all do a better job of asking for help. We should rely more on our family, friends, clergy, and mental health professionals. The next thing I learned is there's no roadmap for change and transition. No one can tell you exactly how it should work, how you should think, and how you should feel. Sometimes you just need to follow your gut feeling. I also learned that it's important to take care of ourselves, mind, body, and spirit. Lastly, and most importantly, I've been reminded over and over that family is the most important thing in life, and we should never pass up an opportunity to tell those closest to us how much we love and care about them. I encourage each of you to go home tonight and remind your family just how much you love them. I know the transition theme was inspired by our move to Sterling Ridge, so I'd like to conclude my comments with my thoughts about our move to the new location. I've been a member of this congregation in this location my entire life. The majority of the life cycle events in my life have been held in this building. I went to preschool and religious school here. I celebrated my consecration, bat mitzvah, and confirmation here. My children attended religious school in this building and celebrated their consecration, bar and bat mitzvahs, and confirmations here as well. In fact, Lindsay's baby meeting was held in this very room. This is also the place where my family said goodbye to my grandmother, Lucy Zielinski, and to my son, Brandon. As I reflect on the move, I have mixed feelings. The physical building certainly has its challenges, and our congregation outgrew this space a long time ago. It will be easy to move to the beautiful new location that provides us enough space to worship and build community together. It will be much harder to leave the memories and feelings I have every time I enter the building. I look forward to the transition and the new memories and feelings we will create together in our new home. Someone once told me it's unreasonable to think that you will ever get over some events in your life, but you can get through them. To me, this is a great way of looking at transition. Through all of my changes and transitions, I have found comfort and strength in faith, family, friends, and family, and I know that will not change in our new home. Preparing for tonight has allowed me to take some time to reflect on the last few years, and I've decided that I know both about both transition and change. I am by no means an expert, but I have learned that both are definitely an important part of life and necessary to continue to move through life. I want to leave you with a quote from Helen Keller. What we have once enjoyed, we can never lose. All that we love becomes a part of us. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.